video, we're going to be using the Cricut Cuttable Adhesive Backed 3mm vinyl. You don't have to use Cricut vinyl. You can use whichever vinyl you prefer. The project I'm going to be doing is this canister here. Now, I'm a huge tea drinker, so I am going to make a title and a little decoration for my canister. So it's just a plain glass canister, and you're going to want to make sure that your project, whether it be the wall, your Cricut machine, a canister, a picture frame, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that it's a clean surface before you start. Alright, so I have my vinyl cut out, and I have about, it's 2 inches by about 5 inches, and I'm going to place it in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to show you why I am doing this. And you're going to want to make sure that your mat is clean and doesn't have fibers on it. If it has fibers on it or leftover paper, it will have little bumps underneath your vinyl, and that'll cause issues when it's cutting. So you're going to just smoothen it out and make sure there's no air bubbles, and then we're going to load it into our machine. So I'm going to open my machine and turn it on. I already have my Cindy Lou Cricut cartridge loaded, and we're going to load in our mat. Now we're going to use our navigation arrows, and we're going to move our blade all the way to the top right corner of our material. So you can use the guide. If you notice in the screen when I'm moving my arrows, it'll have the measurements, or you can just eyeball whereabouts the top right corner is. Now with having the blade here at the top right of my material, it's not going to go off and cut any of my images off of the material. It's going to know where its limits are. Now if you want, you can push set paper size and then the Cricut knows, but it also knows just by having the blade over top. Cindy Lou cartridge is a shape cartridge before it's a font cartridge. So what I mean is if I turn to a page, it's not going to have the font here and then all the images. It's going to have the image and then the font. So when you're trying to type in a word, it's going to be a little bit difficult to find those letters. The nice thing about the guide books is at the back they have a keypad guide for that specific creative feature. So I can choose the font, and with the font creative feature highlighted, it'll show me what the keypad would look like. So I can now type in my word. I'm going to be doing the capital letters for T, so I'm going to leave my shift lock on because it's the upper right image. So I'll put my font button on, my shift lock, and now I can count out second row, fifth one over is T, and it'll show me a preview, and then the third one over is E, and then A. Now I'm going to dial my size to 1 inch, and let's cut. Okay, so my cut is finished. I'm going to unload my mat. Now my suggestion to you is if you have a Gypsy or you use any software for the Cricut, use that when you're making your cuts. That way when you are doing different cuts you can lay out your images or your font or your words on your vinyl so you're not going to have a lot of waste. So our next step is I'm going to leave this on the mat. It doesn't have to be left on the mat, but I'm just going to for display purposes. And you're going to find a corner that's can easily be peeled up. So we're going to peel up that garbage vinyl, which is the vinyl we're not going to be using, and leave our cut on the mat. Okay, so you can just crumple this all up. And if you have plenty of vinyl, if you put your whole 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 vinyl on, cut around your cut before you rip it up. Otherwise you're going to have a lot of waste. With this one I wouldn't be able to do too much because it's about 1 inch by 2 inches that I wasted, but that's okay because I have plenty of vinyl. The Cricut vinyl comes in 2 sheets of 12 by 24. I'm not sure what other brands come in. I know that Stampin' Up! Comes in the same way. I've used Stampin' Up! Vinyl. It works really good as well. It works just as good as the Cricut vinyl. Alright, so there's my cut. Now I'm going to use the Cricut transfer tape. Now the transfer tape comes in 4 sheets of 12 by 24, and this helps you transfer words and different images to walls, and you can align them, make them straight before you put them on your wall. I'm going to use my mat. The mat works great for this. I tried doing this, the first time I tried doing this, I didn't use the mat, and I got really frustrated, but now that I've learned to use the mat, it helps a lot. So I'm just going to start by peeling up a corner, and then I'm going to place it on my mat. The transfer tape evenly on your mat along with the guide. Then you can use the Cricut mat guide to help you align your image. So I'm just going to carefully peel up the grid side, and it may come up, you just need to stick it down after. The side that's going to be coming up is the sticky side, so it makes it a little bit difficult to work with. Okay, so now that it's on the mat, it's laying all flat. If you were to peel it up without using the sticky side of the mat, this would curl up in a big roll, and it gets so frustrating to work with. So now you can see that there's a little bit of a guide here. You can use the straight lines, or you can use the guide on the mat, and we're just going to line up our word T. So I can actually, because I cut the vinyl straight, I can actually even line it up with the edge of the guide. You want to make sure that you rub really hard and get that vinyl to stick to the transfer tape. Then we're going to peel back a corner, and if the vinyl doesn't want to come up, just keep rubbing it to try and get it to stick to the transfer tape. Okay. So I can now take the transfer tape off of my mat, and I will bring my canister over. Now I'm going to stick the word T on my canister. And then you're just going to rub. Now the Cricut vinyl comes with a little tongue depressor that you can use to rub on the wall. I just find using my hands works good too. Make it smooth. And then we can slowly peel off the transfer tape. So there's my canister with my new word on it. Now you can do all sorts of decorations on your canister or your project, or you can just leave it simple like this. The challenge. Cut vinyl with your Cricut machine to create a project. This project can be anything. Home decor, vehicle decals, anything. All entries must be entered at www.letscricut.com in the Let's Cricut gallery under Let's Cricut Challenge Gallery, then Vinyl Challenge February 2011. The link for the gallery will be in the video description. Entries must be in by February 28, 2011 at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Multiple entries are allowed. Each project equals 1 entry.